Thousands of Ethiopian prisoners of war were paraded through the regional capital of Tigray on Friday as jubilant crowds lined the streets to jeer the captives and cheer the Tigrayan forces who only days earlier had routed one of Africa's most powerful armies. Many of the soldiers bowed their heads and cast their eyes downward. Some had to be carried on stretchers, and others wore bandages freshly stained with blood. The swift defeat of the Ethiopian forces was a stunning reversal in a civil war that has led to the displacement of nearly 2 million people in the Tigray region, widespread hunger and reports that civilians were subjected to atrocities and sexual violence. The parade of prisoners served as a pointed rebuke to Ethiopia's Prime Minister, Abiy Ahmed, who had proclaimed in a speech on Tuesday in the national capital, Addis Ababa, that reports of his troops' defeat were a lie. He had declared a unilateral ceasefire, he insisted, for humanitarian reasons. Mr. Abiy had actually declared victory last year, only about a month after he initiated the military operation in Tigray in November, but the fighting had continued for 7 more months. Flanked by Tigrayan fighters, the columns of defeated Ethiopian soldiers had been marching for 4 days from the quickly established battlefield camps where they had been held since the fighting ended this week. They flooded the streets of the Tigrayan capital, Makelle, and were taken to a large prison on the northern edge of the city. A 14-year-old dashed out into the street to run alongside the column, shouting her admiration for the leader of the Tigrayan forces, calling him a lion. "All these soldiers tried to kill us," the girl, Mirj Gebromedhan, said a few moments later, referring to the Ethiopian government forces. But the Tigrayan soldiers showed their mercy. "I am proud of our soldiers." While some in the crowd jeered the soldiers, the onlookers focused much of their anger on the Ethiopian Prime Minister, Mr. Abiy. "We want to degrade as many enemy capabilities as possible," Mr. Getachew said. "We are still in hot pursuit so that enemy forces will not pose a threat to our Tigray in any way." As Friday wore on, many of the marching Ethiopian soldiers who arrived at the jail appeared hungry and exhausted. They were put in cells, men separated from women. They had passed through a gauntlet of Tigrayans celebrating their capture. Adonai Hagos, 23, who had walked alongside the soldiers yelling at him, later explained that he was so angry because some of his friends had been killed by Eritrean troops allied with the Ethiopian army. "This is just one step," he said. "They invaded our land from the west and the south. Until they leave, the war is not over."